Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Armchair Quarterbacks Mile High Edition. I'm Michael Worth.
I am Nick Duran. Make sure you like and subscribe down at the bottom. Sharing is caring, all that good stuff. We got a lot of fun things to talk about,
Playoff
specifically
time.
two playoff teams,
Yep.
Avalanche and Nuggets.
Yep. All right. Let's start with the ones who've already started. They got a game tonight. They looked sharp in their first game. We're up 1-0, but
look sharpish.
Sharpish. I mean, they won 4-1. How much more can you ask?
Well, they played like dog shit the first period, so I could ask a lot more because they did not look good. They got flat out outplayed. I was texting my cousin who was at the game, and I was just like, I feel like I'm watching a mediocre team right now, and just making little mistakes and things that you can't do to win long term.
Okay.
Kadri, like Zach and I would go back and forth on Kadri. I think he's okay. Zach really likes him. I think he's mediocre. But
he's a good second team center, man. You can't have first team centers all the way down.
But his turnover cost us a goal.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: Mikko Rantanen, who's a stud, 30 plus goals over the course of the season. I think he was fourth in the NHL.
Yep.
He missed a goal. Like he was 2 feet away, and he puts it right into the pad. I mean, you couldn't be more wide open than McKinnon scoring an empty netter for the fourth goal. Things like that, just okay. Like I can see it. Like we're a better team than St. Louis, and so it's not
Absolutely.
a huge issue. But if we're playing Vegas, if we're playing Carolina, even Nashville, you can't. There's those types of things you can't do. Outside of that, second period, third period, we played a lot better. Nathan McKinnon came on 30 seconds into the second period and scored a goal. So
2 goals, 1 assist.
He's an absolute stud. He needs to take the games over earlier, though. We need to.
Yeah, sometimes if there is a knock on McKinnon, it is that he doesn't look to score often enough. He's a playmaker at heart. And it is kind of like you would like him to be more aggressive in taking his shots.
It's like Cale Makar. We don't have that issue with him. He will shoot the puck every time.
Any chance he has. Yep, that's okay. So, I mean, yes, we're better than what we played. We won 4-1. We outshot them 50-23.
That's typical, though. We do that with every single team we play.
Yeah, I get that. But we scored. We were 1-3 on power play. So we can't get nitpicky. Now they're not gonna win a series against the Knights playing like this, or the Golden Knights playing like this for 7 games. So to get to the Stanley Cup level and be able to hoist that cup above their heads here in the next month or so, they do have to play better. But they played good enough to win this series in 5.
I like that it's 7 series throughout the entire.
Yes, I agree.
Playoffs. I don't think there's a team out there that's going to beat us in the 7-game series at this point. For right now, we're healthy, which is good. Grubauer played pretty well.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we're going to take care of business tonight. St. Louis, they're a scrappier team, and I think that they're going to try to get under our skin a little bit more tonight than they normally do to try to throw us off the game. But
yeah, they're definitely going to have to do something outside of outplaying us. They're going to have to try to get into the mental warfare game and try to beat us on that level. Because, I mean, anybody who watches hockey knows the Avalanche are a better team and will win a 7-game series 9 out of 10 times against the Blues. So, yeah, they're going to have to try to do something. It might get chippy. It might get more physical, but the Avalanche will have to adapt because a lot of teams are going to try to do that to them.
I thought that they were going to reseed after this one, but I was incorrect. So we play the winner of the Vegas Wild Series, which is really interesting. I don't want to play either of those teams.
Yeah, no.
I honestly thought they were going to reseed. It's like, shit, we have to play the winner.
The Golden Knights is a good team, but the Wild are under the radar really good too. And so
yep.
Is this the first year that they didn't reseed? Because I always thought that the NHL reseeded every series. So like the first place
with the COVID,
it's just West versus West and whatever.
Yeah, I don't. But it's like this weird, it's like west, north, east, south. And then eventually you're going to have to reseed once I think the winner emerges out of the whatever conference you're in. But
right. Because the way they did the season, it worked for COVID, but overall, I mean, you can't even say you have the 8 best teams in the league, because you look at the East Division and you had 5 or 6 really good teams beating the heck out of each other, to where you look at the North Division, and the North Division doesn't have really any good teams. They're just all, the Maple Leafs got some wins and points because they're playing the Canucks and the Senators, who were 2 of the worst teams in the league,
right.
over and over and over. So can't say that you got the 8 best teams in the league into the playoffs on each side this year, but they did what they had to do.
But I think eventually we're going to figure out how to make this recording work without any internet interruptions, or we're just going to figure out how to do it live. And so then there's no more editing that we have to do. We hit the play button. And if we mess up,
I was thinking I want to try to do we get 2 guests on each, like for a second episode, maybe we'll get 2 guests on and do like an around the horn type thing. We have topics, and everybody will do like a scoring system for like a different. We'll have the like this weekend thing, and then maybe like a once a week around the horn.
That's good. Who do we get? We gotta get some people. Did you have that one guy who played AAA baseball or something like that?
So
minor league baseball.
We're gonna try to get him on next week, and he's looking forward to talking about farm systems and the benefits of being drafted into a good farm system versus bad farm system, and that not all are created equal. And some owners just don't care about winning, which we all know all too well in Colorado.
God, I hate that. Anyway, so back to the Avs. They play tonight, 8:30. Game 2. Like you, I think we're going to win in 5. I think we're going to take care of business tonight. Take 1 of 2 from St. Louis in St. Louis, and then finish the series at home. I'm happy, though, to be honest with you. The games are on TV in Denver. I was shocked that I was able to watch it. I was able to watch it tonight because I'm going to Hawaii tomorrow. And I was like, I was really excited because I thought that I was going to actually get to watch the games because I was in Hawaii, not in Denver. So like, it's a win-win for me. So
so it's a win-win for Colorado. They get to see Nick Duran watching the games while on the beach.
Exactly. So we're going to be doing broadcasting live from Maui next week, and it's going to be great. I'm going to be in a Speedo and with a pineapple drink.
Yeah, awesome.
Great.
I'm jealous, but
of which one, the Speedo or the pineapple?
Both. Awesome. All right, next team up is the Denver Nuggets. We finished our season out on a low point of losing to the Portland Trail Blazers, but we didn't play anybody. So
here's the thing, though. Was it planned?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
like, would you rather have the 3 seed and play Portland or the 4 seed and play Dallas?
Well, if we lost to Portland, we would have had the 3 seed still. Or I mean, if we beat Portland, we still would have had the 3 seed, but we would have played the Lakers as the 3-6. But by losing, Portland stayed the 6 by winning, and the Lakers got forced into the play-in game. So I think it was all probably a little bit manipulated in making the Lakers, because I mean, even though they're not healthy and they're not, they might have a little rust. Nobody wants to play LeBron James in a 7-game series in the first round. So I would gladly take the Portland Trail Blazers in the first round. And then if the Lakers end up getting the 7th seed tonight and playing the Suns, we would get the winner of that if we win. I'm hoping the Suns win so that we can we match up pretty well with them, and we don't match up really well with the Lakers. They kind of have our number the last few years.
They do. They really do. I don't think the Lakers are going to beat the Warriors.
I hope not. And then they wouldn't beat the Jazz. I don't think they'd beat the Jazz in the first round. They're too rusty, too beat up. So that would be good because we match up well with the Jazz. And I
mean, because this is Portland, Denver round 2. We lost the first round, 2019. Yep. That was the one year that they had like that 4 overtime game.
Yeah, that whole series was crazy good, very competitive.
We should never have lost that series, though.
Shouldn't have lost. I mean, it was our first year in the playoffs. We snuck by in Game 7 with the Spurs, and we didn't really have the greatest series against Portland. CJ McCollum killed us, and Rodney Hood, of all people, killed us. So that was a long time ago. Now we're going to have the reigning MVP, and he will be leading us into battle. I don't think there's anything that the league can say or do that would cost him the MVP. And if it does, it's rigged.
When's the vote?
I don't know when the vote comes out. It's usually around the second round of the playoffs. So it's like a week and a half after playoffs start.
Do you think if Steph Curry beats LeBron James that these are going to just pad his MVP candidates?
God, I hope not, because it's like we talked about every week. It's like who can be MVP over Jokic? And none of them make sense. It's like there's literally no comparison. If you go down the stats, if you go down what your definition is of most valuable. I was having this argument with somebody, not argument, gentle conversation with somebody that I didn't think Julius Randle should be most improved player, because I don't think by definition he's most improved.
You're going to go with Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr., even Jeremy Grant. But Julius Randle was borderline all-star last year. He averaged like 20 points and 10 rebounds. Now he's averaging 20. I said, if Julius Randle if that's the definition you're using for most improved player, all-star to take the next leap into being a superstar, then Nikola Jokic should win most improved player and MVP, because he's more improved in every statistical category than Randle is from last year. So I just don't like that definition. I think it's somebody who takes that step into being, like a role player or a young player. And if Porter had a bigger role at the beginning of the year, hands down, he would have won. It just he came on too late. He took the step from a rookie who barely got minutes to, by the end of the year, one of the top 30 players in the NBA.
He's absolutely incredible. Love him.
So, I mean, by definition of who is the most improved from the start of last year, or even the end of last year to the end of this year,
right?
It's Porter. I mean, he went from, like I said, somebody who barely played as a rookie to somebody who is a legitimate second option on a championship caliber team. So that would be my pick. No bias.
None at all. Zero bias at all.
But what do you think about us in Portland this year? Do you think without Jamal Murray, who has a history of stepping up and saving us a couple games a series in the last 2 years, do you think we can fill in the missing pieces, Aaron Gordon and Porter, and our guys? Because we're beat up. Dozier, Barton, Monty Morris is back. That's good. But Dozier, Barton, and Jamal Murray, they're all going to be gone for the first series, most likely.
Well, Jamal Murray's out for
he's gone. He's gone. But I'm just saying, like, he's one of the three that won't be playing.
As crazy as this sounds, I don't think we're going to beat them.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
I really don't. They're a really good team, and we just are, to your point, we're too banged up. We don't have the it factor from a Jamal Murray standpoint. Michael Porter Jr., even though like you and I are both on team and MPJ, and that he's phenomenal. I don't know if the stage is too big, TBD on that one.
Yeah.
His first real playoff, action from a starting standpoint, from hey, we need you to carry the load. And can you step up to the plate? Jamal Murray in those series, he was averaging, like in Utah, he was averaging 31 points a game, and he popped 50 twice.
Yep.
And so
he did like
50 twice, 50 once on with Utah, and then 50 once with the Clippers.
No, he did 50 in the series twice against Utah, and then 40, I think, 2 more times.
And so he was absolutely playing out of his mind. But again, I don't know if he would do that again. Like, I don't know if he'd repeat it.
Yeah, and he was, the bubble playoffs, I think everybody can agree, was a little weird. It wasn't 100% playoff atmosphere. There was
True.
there was a lot of people who had huge playoff appearances that was out of nowhere. Murray being one of them. So if it was in a real environment, I don't think Murray has the breakout that he does, and I don't think we make it past the first round last year because falling down 3-1 and going
Twice.
into Utah twice would have been, and then 3-1 against the Clippers would have been a no-brainer. We wouldn't have won that one without being in the bubble. But this year, we have 7,100 fans or something like that, and Portland only letting like 2,500 or so. So we definitely have a bigger home court advantage.
I think it's absolute bullshit that they're not going more than 7,100 people.
I agree.
I walked around everywhere right now with no mask on. I'm vaccinated.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like, just let people go.
I'm in Arizona. We've been open up for a long time, and we're not a political site. We might have more followers if we did, but
or zero.
Or zero, because nobody agrees. But in my opinion, I think it is perfectly okay for people to go to the game at this point. So I agree. I mean, at least 50%. At least
here's the thing, like
9,500.
The only time that I really care, now I'll caveat that because I feel like I care a lot, but I'll say it on camera, the only time I really care is when it comes down to the sports. But I swear, red states are way better at fans than blue states. North Carolina, I was watching their hockey game. They had like 16,000 fans at that game. There's only 2,000 fans that weren't at that game.
No.
Almost sold out. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And guess what? Have you heard any spikes of COVID in North Carolina right now?
I've lived in both California and Arizona during COVID. They were handled both very differently, and the results didn't vary much. So it's hard to say. But again, let's not get too much on this because I could talk about it for a while.
Just saying, if they've like the city of Denver's already announced that they're going to allow full capacity for the All-Star game.
It's like a week before too. They're going to start doing it.
Full capacity for the All-Star game, but yet a month and a half earlier, we can't go full capacity for the playoffs for the Nuggets and the Avalanche. And
the Broncos
shit about the
Broncos announced full capacity a long time ago. I mean, I know it's in the future, but they announced it a long time ago. They're doing all 70,000. So it is disappointing, but at least they upped it. They almost doubled it, but yeah, it is what it is. I don't make the rules.
It's ridiculous, is all I'm saying. It's all about money.
Yeah, absolutely. Another reason why we will never get true answers. But moving on to the Rockies, we had a terrible week of baseball.
Guess what happened? They lost today.
Yeah, they lost yesterday and the day before, and the day before, and the day before that too.
I was sitting
losing streak
at my parents' house. When was it? It was Sunday. Rockies are up 6-1 going into the 8th inning. Talking to my dad, I was like, "Hey, shocking! The Rockies are up 6-1. Like this is, I feel like it's going to be a halfway decent Sunday." And then I put my phone down. Fast forward, I don't know, 25, 35 minutes, and all of a sudden it's like 6-5. I'm like, "What in the absolute f is happening right now with our bullpen?" It's like, well, that's what's happening. It's our bullpen. They're absolutely terrible, and I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. They're bad. Like they're so bad. And Almonte, he is garbage, like straight garbage. I have no idea why he's on the team. He's so bad. If you're listening to this podcast, which you're probably not listening to this, you're terrible. Like you're terrible. Stop playing baseball and all sports altogether because you're seriously a piece of shit.
Oh man, you're going that far. That's all right. I agree. Let's give props to some people who deserve props. Josh Fuentes, Arenado's cousin, got
player of the week.
Player of the week last week. So I think he hit a 500, bringing his bat for the whole week. Brought his batting average up to a whopping 254. So I mean, he had the good week. He's shown flashes in the past. Last year, he did all right filling in at first base. So maybe there's some potential there for him. But as much as the bats were turned up last week, this week they have died. We got shut out twice against the Padres, and we scored 1 run in the other game. So, yeah, they went to sleep. 4 hits in the first game, 2 hits this game. And then I don't know I think it was like a 1 home run in the game that they scored 1 run in. 6 hits. No home runs. So 6 hits. Fuentes got the RBI. He went 2 for 4, and CJ Cron went 3 for 4. So 6 hits is misleading because it was by 2 people.
You know, typical Rockies sitting at like just a little over 5.3 5.03 ERA. They're just a really bad team. I don't know. We talk about them every week about how bad they are. And the thing that's interesting about the Rockies is how bad their fielding is. So they have the 3rd worst fielding percentage in all of baseball. And that's not typical of what the Rockies are.
No, usually we have a pretty good defense, but in the first, like to your point, the first game with Padres series, we had 3 errors. 3 errors in a Major League Baseball game is crazy.
Especially the one error was a wild pitch that cost us the game.
Yeah.
With Bard,
it's not great baseball being played, and that's being nice. I don't know. Again, it's very hard to watch. It's very hard to talk about. Another bright spot in Rockies history, I guess we could go. Todd Helton inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame this week. One of the best Rockies to ever play. Probably.
He might be the best Rocky from start to finish.
Oh yeah. As far as longevity goes, I mean, Larry Walker is up there as far as skill set, but he was only in Rocky for a handful of years. Todd Helton.
You know, what would you say Todd Helton's best season was at the Rocky?
Oh man, I remember watching the Rocky Mountain News box scores every morning to see if he was hitting 400. It was like his 4th year in the league. Him and Tony Gwynn were going back and forward on if somebody can hit 400 for the first time in however many years. But he crushed the ball that year. He hit over 40 home runs. He hit like 380 or something like that.
Yeah, 372, and that was in his 2000s. The crazy part about that, so to your point of Rockies not getting any love and why we do this channel from a notoriety standpoint, he finished 5th in the MVP voting that year. 5th.
Oh my gosh.
He hit 372 with 42 home runs and 147 RBIs, and he finished 5th in the MVP voting.
Yeah, that's crazy. I just pulled it up. So he was 8.9 wins above replacement that year. Jeff Kent won the MVP that year with 33 home runs, 334 batting average, slugging 596. Todd Helton was slugging 698, 372 average, 42 home runs, 147 RBIs,
and only 61 strikeouts. That was that
was the craziest part about how good of a hitter he is he didn't strike out when he was in his prime. He was one of the few players who always had more walks than strikeouts. Even towards the end of his career, when he was in his late 30s, he was pretty much 1 strikeout to one walk. He had great hand-eye coordination. He had a great eye for pitches, and he had great discipline. So sadly, I don't know if he's ever going to get into the Hall of Fame.
Really?
I mean, I hope so. I really hope so. And I hope Larry Walker paved the way for him, because Helton's numbers speak for themselves. He had his back issues for the last 5 or 6 years, so he definitely didn't hit the ball that well to his standards for, 5 or 6 years at the end of his career. And then even before that, he wasn't hitting the ball at all-star level in the back half of his career, but he was still a 300 hitter, just no power.
Right. I mean, but to finish your career with, just over a 315 batting average, with over 350 home runs, over 1,400 RBIs.
The doubles, man. The doubles is he's one of the leaders, all-time leaders in doubles.
Yeah, 592 doubles. Do I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer? No, not. I guess he gets voted in this year's his first time on the ballot.
Now here's a question: if he was a New York Yankee for 17 years with this exact same stat line, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
No brainer, 100%.
I think I don't know for certain, but I think if I pulled up his stats to Derek Jeter, they were very, 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 very similar, and he was almost unanimous vote.
Mm-hmm. That's the unfortunate
Jeter
part.
had 3,000 hits, but he had less home runs, less doubles, less RBIs.
Yep.
So
and it's all like he was about 400 and
couple hundred hits away. He was 30 home runs away from 400. So I mean, absolutely, he should be in the Hall of Fame, and I hope he is. And I hope, like I said, I hope Larry Walker getting in has opened the door for Colorado Rockies hitters to get in, and I hope Arenado continues to hit well or play well, and I hope LeMahieu continues to play well, because that'll open the door even further to all of the outside East Coasters who don't watch Colorado baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't help his case that he rarely was in the playoffs, but that's not his fault. This isn't basketball where one player
can change the game.
Yeah, I mean, you need at least 3 really good pitchers, and you need at least 3 really, really good players or hitters, and then the rest of them have to be above average in baseball. It's not like you can have Barry Bonds, who is going to lead the league in home runs and get intentionally walks. He's not going to be able to take
Here's put it this way: even if you put Derek Jeter on the Rockies at the same time with Todd Helton, we still wouldn't have made the playoffs.
No,
we still would have
not. There was some really bleak years. I mean, when we went to the World Series in 2007, Helton was, he had a 320, it looks like, with 17 home runs. So it wasn't like he was a superstar, but he contributed. But at the same time, he had Tulo, Holiday. There was a lot of
Garrett Atkins was at third base. Ryan Spilborn was on that team. Brad Hopp was on that team.
So you had a lot of players who were capable of hitting 20, 30 home runs. And I mean, arguably the best shortstop in baseball at the time, and arguably the best hitter in baseball at the time with Holiday. So you had some really good players, and they were just barely qualified for the playoffs.
Barely, by a game. We had to play a play-in game to get into that series. But I mean, we could spend all day talking about how bad the Rockies are. But moving on, look, quick Broncos talk.
Yeah.
Rookies reported.
I like Surtain already. He's saying all the right things. Going to camp.
Is it weird? He looks good. Is it weird? Is it weird to say? I don't know.
Like if you were to build a NFL player, it would look a lot like what he looks like.
Yeah, I was like, man, it's like I watched him come out of the tunnel. I was like, man, you look like you're supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm. And
not in a weird way.
Young.
But like,
he's a young rookie. He's not like he's 22-year-old 50-year senior or 23-year-old 50-year senior. He's one of the younger rookies.
Right. I was like, I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
Absolutely. I'm not, like I said, we got the best defensive player in the league. He can be an anchor to the half of the field for 15 years. And he's got the body to move to safety later in his career.
Yeah.
So
I don't think anything's going to happen from an Aaron Rodgers standpoint until after June 1st.
Okay. Why is June 1st? Is there a roster bonus involved or something?
Yeah, there's a roster bonus involved post June 1st. So
okay.
I think that if they let him go prior, then they're on the hook. If they let him go after, they're not on the hook. And here's the thing: the crazy part is, like, if he were to retire, then he has to pay back $30 million to the Packers. And so it's not. I mean, that's not a financially smart decision. I don't care how much money you have. That's stupid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you're that good, but here's the thing: like I feel like you could leverage more like these all-star like MVP type players could be like, look, hey, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that you could say, look, I'm going to play for you, Green Bay, but I'm going to throw 37 interceptions on fucking purpose, or you're going to trade me. Like if you sit me, I still get paid.
Yeah.
So
it kind of reminds me of that Joe Flacco's last game with the Broncos. He had that. It was against Kansas City. He got sacked like 15 times, and he looked like he was just. That's kind of what he told the Broncos. Is like, I want my money. I'm not going to play. I don't want to play for you. And he just looked so lethargic and so terrible, even to Joe Flacco standards. It's funny you say that because it's kind of what it looked like. He just was like, I'm going to play so bad until you pull me and sit me so I could just relax and make my money.
Right. And so that's where, like, if you're a Green Bay, you're like, look, if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I really want to get out of Green Bay, whether that be to the Broncos, which we hope, or the Raiders or the 49ers or whomever, at some point you got to be like, look, I'm Aaron Rodgers. I have all of the leverage in the world. You're on the hook. You're on the hook, Green Bay, to pay me whether I play really well or I play terrible. So if I come in and say, hey, I'm going to commit to playing I'm going to pull a Joe Flacco and play terrible, then, I won't hit open receivers. I'm going to overshoot people. I'm going to just go pick after pick after pick until you bench me, and you're going to be paying, me $35 million a year to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
Or you go get 3 first-round draft picks from the Broncos and a backup QB as in Teddy Bridgewater and call it a day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I saw 2 power rankings, 2 post-draft free agency power rankings, and one of them had us at 26th, and one of them had us at 3rd. The one at 3rd had us at 3rd based on the fact that he wholeheartedly believed Aaron Rodgers was going to be in Denver.
Was that person who put us 3rd from Colorado, and did that person smoke an asshole crack before they wrote?
Shoot, I want to say it was a Bleacher Report article, but he absolutely believes that Aaron Rodgers is out of Green Bay, and he thinks the Broncos are the team that is going to be the one who gets him. But I just thought it was hilarious that the difference between Drew Lock in the media's mind and Aaron Rodgers
is 23 spots.
One of the worst teams in the league versus one of the best teams in the league. It's pretty obvious that that's our only hole. I think 26 is way too low. I think we're more of an 8-8 team with Drew Lock, or an 8-9 team this year. But
no, that's not true. You already said that we're going to win 10, 11 games with Drew Lock, so I don't want to hear your 8-8.
All right. And then we got the schedule released.
Fifth easiest schedule in all of football.
If we don't go 3-0 to start the season, I will be incredibly disappointed with Rodgers or not. But we play the Giants, the Jaguars, and the Jets. Those are 3 of the worst teams in the league. We're not one of those teams.
No.
So if we don't go 3-0 to start, and then the Ravens will be tough out.
But it's at home.
Yeah, but it's at home. At Pittsburgh will be tough.
Oh, we're going to lose that game.
Mm-hmm. Versus at home against the Raiders, at the Browns, then at home against Washington.
We're going to lose that game too.
You think at the Browns? I think they had
They're
one
good, man. They're a good team.
They're still Cleveland. I mean, their logo is like basically a skid mark. Right? Who named their team the Browns?
Look, I want to shit on the Browns, no pun intended. But they are a good football team.
They're good. They have a lot of good pieces. They're still the Browns. So we'll go ahead and say that's a win.
No, we're not saying that's a win. That's a loss for the Broncos.
Home against Washington's a win. At Dallas.
Loss.
That's tough, but they're still Dallas. Home against the Eagles is a win.
I don't think it's a win either.
You don't think home against the Eagles?
We're playing. Do we have Drew Lock or we have Aaron Rodgers?
Doesn't matter. We could have.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We lost to the Chargers with Drew Lock.
Yeah, but we beat the Chargers at home.
Yeah, barely.
And
that was the same game that Dalton Reisner and Drew Lock were talking shit to the fans. Like, in Denver, they're talking crap to the Denver fans who are booing them.
So
that was the same game that Drew Lock in the first half as an offense. We had like 52 yards or 26 yards combined. He was terrible.
Terrible. He threw like 200 yards, though, in the fourth quarter. And everybody was like, oh, he's going to be great. But last year, we played Tennessee, and clock management lost that game for us. Pittsburgh, clock management lost that game for us. We got smoked by the Buccaneers, smoked by the Chiefs. Atlanta, if you go back through the schedule last year, there's at least 3 or 4 games that we could have, should have won, even as bad as we were last year. So I think we were better than 5-11 as a team. There was a lot of, the Chargers, but the Chargers game that we won was on a last play, so that could go the other way too.
Do you think Vic Fangio even knows where the clock is at on the field?
No, I don't think he knows what a timeout is. I don't think he knows what.
I'm surprised he knows how to spell his last name. Vic Fangio reminds me a lot of Joe Biden.
I don't even know why, but that's funny. Is it because they're both clueless?
It's just like these senile old people that are not mean. They're not mean. They're not mean people. They're just like, man, you're so old, like you're so dumb.
The one thing that I will be, and maybe I've mentioned this before, if we get Aaron Rodgers and we do really well and make it to the playoffs or even the AFC Championship, I still think Vic Fangio needs to be fired.
Oh, he needs to be fired. He should have been fired last season.
Yeah.
I've said this. I've said this about him. I've said this about Bud Black. I'm sorry, but with Vic Fangio, you've been in the NFL as a coach for the last 30-ish some years, and every team has passed up on you except for the Broncos from a head coaching standpoint. Bud Black, you were a loser in San Diego, and we just thought that you were going to come into Denver and magically turn it around. It's a joke.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I can't hate on Bud Black for losing. I don't think he's a good coach, but I can't hate on him for losing. He's got a stacked deck. Clint Hurdle I liked Clint Hurdle.
Love Clint Hurdle. Good coach.
He had a stacked deck too. And they just
took us to the World Series.
Yeah. Showed him the door. But nobody's going to win in Colorado until Mumfords are gone.
So
as far as NFL, I'm sticking to Drew Lock can lead us to a winning season, or Bridgewater, whoever wins the starting position. It has nothing to do with the quarterback skill set, but everything to do with our defense is going to be top 3. They're going to be top 3 in the league. They're going to force turnovers because they're going to be able to pressure the quarterback. And all we have to do is not turn the ball over.
Okay, sounds great.
I mean, literally the offense has to run the ball, which drafted a second-round running back, so they paid high-price free agents, so that better be a big part of their game plan.
We're going to go we have 17 games?
17 games.
We're going to go 8-9.
8-9? It's not that much further than my 10-7.
It's pretty further. It doesn't have to be a real thing. We're so far off. We're so far off because, one, it's a losing season, okay?
Losing season. 10-7 might get the playoffs for you.
Well, yeah, we're going to watch another team be in the playoffs like the Chargers.
The Chargers have so many holes on their team, but they have a stud as a quarterback, so they have that. But we'll see.
All right. Well, until next time.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today. See you next week. Nick will be on the beach in his Speedo.
Buckets.